This is amazing. I'm glad we could do this.
Yeah, me too. It's lovely to be here.
Now, I don't normally hold up props and things when I talk to people, but you're in the UK, I'm in Australia. That's what time it is.
Oh my God, you're so dedicated.
It is. It's not even quite 4:30 in the morning yet.
God bless you. What time did you get up?
Well, we organised this to be around 4:30 at my time. So I've been up now about 10 minutes.
Oh, bless, I don't blame you.
Yeah, I just sleep in these clothes. It's all right.
Yeah. You're gonna have to, aren't you?
Firstly, I want to know a little bit about some of these short films that you've appeared in over the years. I recently watched The Caretaker, and it was beautiful. Not a lot of dialogue, pretty much none, but it was a nice story. Is it something that you are very proud of and something you pursue, doing short films?
Yeah, I mean, this short film in particular, I'd met the director through another short film that I did, and he gave me this script and I just fell in love with it because I have been a dementia carer as well. And so the film kind of was based around dementia, and kind of exploring the idea of loss of identity and isolation and loneliness. So I fell in love with it. And I am so proud of it. From the moment I got the script, it was like such a collaboration with everyone involved. And it's finally coming out now and it's doing really well in film festivals. So yeah, I'm buzzing over it.
Was it always going to be, well, not a silent movie, but a non-dialogue film?
Yeah, it was. It was a choice from the director because it was very much the concept of what it would be like to live in the mind of someone with dementia and what they might be going through. And it's a very silent, I mean, a lot of the time it's non-verbal. So that was definitely purposely put in there to kind of explore that idea of loneliness even more. Yeah.
Non-verbal, almost time travel style, because your outfits change, your hairstyle changes at times.
Yeah, definitely. It's like it explores that whole idea of memory. So take it back through the ages, through the time. Yeah, it's really beautiful.
You have a beautiful outlook and structure of your face, but you're emoting in that movie. It's amazing, like what you managed to do in that short 20+ minutes.
Yeah. Oh, thank you. Yeah, I think that was definitely what drew me as well. That whole idea of having to explore the emotions without being able to say anything, particularly the scenes between the mother and the daughter. You would want to say something, and how can you bring across this idea of love and wanting to speak to someone but not being able to. So that was, from an acting point, that was amazing to try and kind of explore that and where we could go with that.
Yeah, no, it was really nice. I appreciate you sharing it with me, and I hope it does great at all the film festivals.
Yeah, thank you so much.
I think it's important to have short films in the structure of things when it comes to, there's so many big budget films and features, and the independent scene needs to stay alive. So good to see you'll always be part.
Yeah, I couldn't agree with you more. And I've kind of come from independence. That's kind of where I've started, because even the LAST RITE, independent, it's done really well, which I'm so pleased about. But yeah, independent films, short films, features, I like root for them. I love them.
Yeah, well, that's why we're here. The LAST RITE, it's made its way into release down under. Did you ever think? The LAST RITE, by the way, if you're unaware, is a independent horror film, an exorcism film, and Bethan is the lead. It's your first feature. Before I get fully into the LAST RITE, why are you an actor? Is it something you were always destined to be?
Yeah. I cannot remember when I first fell in love with that. I would have been really little, but I've always loved, I was in all amateur dramatic groups when I was little. And it's been the only thing that I love and want to do as far as I can remember. I don't know this is the question that people always ask, and I don't know what it is about it. I love exploring people. I love getting into the minds of people. My favorite part of the whole acting process is doing all the prep work, getting into their minds, figuring out why people do things they do in kind of weird situations, or in the Last Rites case, like crazy situations.
Yes.
So yeah, I've always loved it, always.
So you're destined to be a performer, and you can't remember when it started. So you must have been very young and trying to pursue the arts at an early age, which is great to hear.
Yeah, I think the pursuing part of it really kind of professionally came a little bit later on, because when I first started, it was more just like, I really love doing this thing, like playing characters in front of people. And like at school and stuff. But then the kind of professional pursuit of it came after I left university, and then I got involved in a lot more kind of theatre groups, and then I studied acting further, and then that's when I was like, okay, I actually just want to do this professionally. I don't want to do anything else.
Yeah, well, you're on the right track, that's for sure. And am I correct in saying that you got the role of Lucy pretty much from seeing it at first in the Backstage notice online?
Yes. So I graduated from a part-time drama school in London, and then I was like, just stupidly, I was like, I need to be in things, I need to be doing things. And this was before I had an agent. And I still didn't really know. I was like, how do you even go about doing this? And I signed up to Backstage, and I was applying for so many different things. And that was actually one of the first ones that I applied for, and that I got a self-tape request through. Yeah, crazy. Yeah.
Well, that's amazing, because I mean, you're the first person I've ever heard anyone get something from Backstage. I always never thought that they were worth, but you've endorsed it by, getting a job like this.
Yeah, well, that's the thing as well. And I think with Backstage, well, for me, obviously Backstage was brilliant, but I think you never know where these independent films are going to go. That's the thing. And so and I didn't even think about that when I did it. I was purely doing it because, like, I love horror films, and I was like, this is going to be like a huge challenge. How on earth do you play a possessed person? Can I pull it off? So that was why I kind of signed up for it. But you never know where they're going to go. So, and I think there is on Backstage, there's a lot of stuff that's not so great, but then you get these amazing ones come through. So I always think it's worth it, especially if you don't know where to start, if you don't have an agent, if you don't even know where to get into the industry. There's stuff on there, even doing self-taped auditions as practice. It's just a level to kind of get you on the path, if that makes sense.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. It's a big tick for Backstage, and I didn't think I'd ever hear that. So I'm happy. I'm impressed that they do actually work for some people, and I'm sure they do, but in your case, remarkably well. They kicked you off well.
Yeah, remarkably well.
You play Lucy in the film, and does Lucy stay with you now that you've been talking about this movie for like a year or so now? Is Lucy still with you?
That's a good question. I don't think so anymore. I think the memories and certain scenes have stayed with me, and kind of the experience as a whole. And I'd probably say more so in the kind of possessed parts of it, not so much in kind of the earlier stuff. But I think it's more because I look back on it really fondly. It's something that's like really those kind of good memories, and I've even forgotten kind of the challenges. Well, I haven't really forgotten the challenges, but all I look back on it now is kind of these like really fond memories. But I don't think that Lucy's there. She hasn't stayed with me any longer, which is kind of a good thing, because she's quite depressing. So I'm kind of glad she hasn't stayed with me.
I'm sure, and a lot of actors don't like watching their own work. Did you did you watch your own work? Did you watch dailies by the director, or did you wait till the film was complete before you watched it, or maybe you haven't watched it?
I have watched it. I watched it at the premiere. It had its premiere at Fright Fest Film Festival in the
Yeah.
UK. Oh, I don't like it. I hate watching myself.
I knew
I
you'd
remember
say
I was
that.
just sitting front. Yeah, I was just sitting at the front like this. I was like, I can't even look. But no, I didn't see any dailies when we were doing it. I remember a couple of times during kind of the demonic scenes, I had a look sometimes afterwards. Just that was more kind of technical based to see if everything is looking right. But apart from that, I was like, I don't want to see anything. Don't show me. If you like, if you're good with it, let's just keep going. You know, I was like, don't show me, because I'm definitely the type of person that will just get into my own head, and it would take me away from it. And yeah, it wouldn't be good.
Yeah, no, I had a feeling you'd probably say that, but at least you're at the premiere and you saw the reaction from the crowd as well, and I'm sure it was positive.
Yeah, no, it really was, which was I just remember being really overwhelmed actually.
Yeah,
It's
okay.
such a weird thing. But like you're seeing it for the first time, and I'm seeing myself on the big screen, and it was just a lot to take in. And then you have people coming up to you like, "Oh my God, that was you. You know, you're amazing." Blah blah blah. And I don't really remember what I was thinking, but I think I was kind of like numb to it all a little bit.
Sure,
I've had to switch off.
Yeah, well, seeing yourself on a big 40-foot, 50-foot big screen, I mean, of course, it'd be a little overwhelming.
Yeah, not pleasant, and especially with all my ugly faces that I have to do. So yeah, that was fun.
Yes, yeah, we'll talk about that. I have to start and get this out of the way because I'm sure it's been mentioned before. I'm not sure whether he was your partner or husband, but Ben, played by Johnny Fleming.
Yeah.
What a horrible person as he was, like, towards your character. I hope he was a nice guy on set.
Oh no, he was a lovely guy on set. Yeah, not like his character at all.
Well, that's good acting then, because I'm not the only one. People don't like that character. He's so awful to you. You're just trying to explain the situation at times. You're in a place that you're supposed to be living with together and sharing, but he is awful to you. Lucy, of course.
He's awful. He is awful to Lucy. Yeah, there's nothing else to say. He's just very unlikable. I think though.
More than unlikable.
Yeah, I'm being nice here. I think I'm being nice. I don't remember. I think when we were doing it, I don't know if it was kind of like in the midst of it all, but I don't remember him being as aggressive and mean. And
Yeah.
then when I watched it, I was like, wow, you are really horrible. You're just horrible. Like, why is Lucy with him? But of
That's
course,
what I kept on asking. You were too good for him.
yeah, I mean, it's for the purpose though, isn't it? Because had he been this lovely, supportive boyfriend, that whole isolation, her being isolated, allowing these kind of demons to enter her, that wouldn't have been possible. So he needed to be this. There needed to be this disconnect between them. But yeah, he was extremely mean.
Potentially, if he was nice, you would have been able to sit down and talk to him about the man in the hat, but that just wasn't happening.
Nothing was happening. He wouldn't even allow me to say, like, I think the house is haunted. There was nothing. I wasn't allowed to say anything.
Yeah, and it took me out of the film a little bit at the start, but it got better. Like I started to adjust to his attitude because it went on and on for quite some time. Yeah, interesting. Do you walk down now the protagonist in some of the film is a shadow, a man in the hat. We can give spoilers out because people, I hope, have seen this movie before before this conversation. So if you haven't, stop, come back to it. But you see a man in a hat, like a dark shadow, doors open and close and so forth. After filming the movie, did you walk down the street and start seeing men with hats everywhere? Or did you walk into a room and go, what's in the corner? Did it stick with you?
No, I didn't. But I mean, there was some weird things that happened on set.
Okay.
But afterwards, after we wrapped, I was fine. But my family, I remember I came home because obviously then it was COVID. We filmed in November And then COVID happened. We finished in November 2019.
Pre-COVID.
Yeah, just before COVID. And I remember coming back home, and all my family were convinced that there was weird stuff going on. And I was like, no, it's just because I've been in a film that's like about spirits and demons. But on set there was some weird things going on, like things being like a picture kept being thrown across the other side of the room, and we'd hear bang. But it's one of those things when you're in it, because we were doing night shoots. It was night shoots, so the kind of disbelievers would say you're lacking sleep, you're seeing things, but then when you're in it and these weird things are going on, it's hard not to think, okay, this is a little bit weird. But yeah, so during it there was some weird things, but afterwards it was absolutely fine.
Good, that's good to hear. I mean, the picture falling off the wall is a bit weird, but maybe that was just because there were so many in the house. You were filming in the house that features in the movie, right?
Yeah.
See, that's a good location shoot.
Yeah, very good. So we were living in it that we were shooting in. So yeah, it was a small crew. There was never really a lot of people, which was really nice. It was a small group of people, cast and crew. But yeah, I mean, I was never really that scared over the things. I remember Tara, who plays Ellie, my best friend in the film, she got quite freaked out by some of the things that was going on, because both her and the director himself, they're quite spiritual people anyway. So for them it was scarier, I think, but for me, I think I just was kind of like, no, it's not happening, that's not real, that's just our minds playing tricks on us, it's fine.
That's good to hear. And it was a pre-COVID shoot, so no masks or anything, and you're all living together in a house. You probably couldn't do that now, who knows.
No, although I mean, technically we would have been a bubble, so maybe we could have.
Yes, that is true. Was there craft services in the house? Did you wear your own clothes? How did it all work?
So basically it was a huge house actually, and we were only filming in a certain amount of rooms. So there was I think there was 3 bedrooms or something that we didn't use, so that was kind of like I'd sleep in the bedroom. I was the only one, it was me, the director and the producer, that stayed in the house. The others kind of came, because I was basically filming every day and night, like 5 weeks I think it was, so I kind of had to stay in because it just didn't make sense for me to move around. And it was really actually quite strange, because so I had it was like I was staying in like a hotel or an Airbnb, and then the next thing you know, you're downstairs with all the cameras and the crew, and you're getting mic'd up and you're in costume, and it was like, this is a bit weird. But yeah, and then we had kind of it was all quite nice actually. So the producer did all the cooking and everything, so it was a really kind of it was like a family kind of thing. It just felt like we were making this film for fun, if that makes sense. It didn't feel like this kind of big grand thing. It was really small, really kind of intimate, which I think was the best experience that I could have had starting out, going straight out of drama school into that was great for me. It wasn't I didn't feel too overwhelmed, well,
there's no break. So if you've gone straight from drama school into a project, that helps, rather than sitting around waiting, I guess, for too long.
Definitely. Because you're kind of still fresh, you've also got that kind of real excitement. You're like, oh, this is the first, and I think I think I was just kind of going into it completely I can't believe I've got a part in a film.
Well, just this is a question I haven't got prepared, but with you coming from drama school, did you learn anything major in drama school? Because you hear of some directors and screenwriters and actors who don't go officially to a school to study, but then they get great jobs and they become are very sought after, whatever their profession is. Did drama school help
Yeah.
you? Do you think that was a benefit?
Well, because mine was part-time, so it allowed me to kind of work on the side. It wasn't the kind of 3-year intensive full-time.
Got it.
I had friends who got into that. I did apply for full-time drama school. I just didn't get into any of them.
Yeah. Okay.
And so I did that. So I think I've had a different experience to like the traditional drama school sense. And I think I learned a lot because it was part-time. So it allowed you to hone your craft, hone your skills, but then you also were not so intense into this, into that environment. I think it's just individual based. I know a lot of friends who have learned so much from drama school.
Okay.
And it's because of drama school that they've got a really good agent and all of that. And then I've got friends who haven't done any training and they're still just as successful and still doing just as well. So I think it's purely individual based. And I think that it's always a good thing to do it because it's a chance for you to practice, find out what you like, what you don't like, what you're good at, what you're not so good at.
Sure.
And you know, you just better. So it's never a negative. I think if you don't want to do the full-time route, I think you should always do part-time or classes or workshops, whatever it is. Because it also just keeps you fresh, and it keeps you kind of confident. You feel confident so that when an audition comes along or something, you're like, right, I'm good to go. Let's do it. Which is kind of what happened with The Last Rite. So.
Oh, exactly. I mean, you said 2019 and we're now talking in 2023 and you're still discussing the movie you did after drama school.
It's a bit weird, isn't it? It's a bit crazy.
It's funny how independent movies can take some while to be released, but you know, I'm glad it did get released down under. Otherwise, I wouldn't have seen it.
I know.
Yeah, I'm stoked.
Yeah, no, it is, and obviously COVID pushed it back. Because it was supposed to come out a lot sooner. And then COVID happened, and then that's when the film festivals were putting it all digital, so doing online ones, which then you have the problem of which a lot of obviously films did, but I think you've got the problem of like copyright issues, all of that sort of stuff that can happen. And I know the director was like, no, we're just going to wait until we have a physical screening, a physical festival, because I think that's what's best for the film. And he was right, because I think had he gone into it too soon, I don't know if it would have done as well, if it would be on as many platforms.
No.
So yeah, I think the wait was worth it, I think.
Yeah, definitely. There's 2 scenes in particular I want to quickly ask you what it was like filming them. Firstly, the bath. I mean, any horror thriller that has water involved usually is going to be something creatively scary, frightening. The bath scene that you're in looked like it was a challenge. Can you talk me through it? Was it a quick shoot or not?
No, it was a long night.
Oh, no.
If anyone
I knew you'd say that.
Anyone asks me what the hardest scene was, I'll always say that, because we'd done a few night shoots by that point, and I think I was reaching my like, I need a break. And we'd spent it was just the whole kind of evening shoot was dedicated to that bath scene, because obviously there's quite a bit to it. So there's the beginning bit with Ben in the bathroom, and then he leaves and all of that stuff goes down. So there was lots of kind of pieces to it. So it was quite a long process. It started
calm and then obviously gets frantic.
Yeah, so we obviously started with the calm bit, kind of leading into it, and then I just remember the bath was shaped so funny. It was at a funny angle,
right?
And every time I had to go under, water would just fill up in my nose, and I would be like, I couldn't stay down for long enough. It was like it kept happening, and I was like, I wasn't allowed to hold my nose, because obviously I've got to look. First, I've got to look kind of peaceful and serene when I'm underneath before it starts to go bad. But I couldn't look peaceful and serene because I was like, this is going up in my nose. I'm like, this is horrible. So it was like take after take, and we just kept doing it. And I don't remember. I think we had to come back to it. I think we left it and we came back to it another night because it just wasn't, I just couldn't get it. I was like trying and trying. And I think
Yeah.
I think I was really tired as well. I think that had a lot to do with it. Then when we came back to do it, we only did it, I think, ended up doing that whole me going under and then that happening and me coming up. We only ended up shooting it, I think we did like 4 takes. Because
Right.
I was like, right, we are doing this. We're getting it really quickly. I don't want to do it for too long. I'm going to give it my all here. Let's just go for it. And then it was fine after that. But I do always remember it being the toughest scene because I think it was just the longest as well. It was so long. I remember that night shoot being like, oh my God, this is going on forever. Come on. Yeah.
I expected it to be a challenge, but the way it was put together and edited and your acting convincing and one of the highlights of the movie, that's for sure.
Oh wow, oh my gosh, that's refreshing to hear because then it just makes you feel like you it was all worth it in the end. Yeah.
Yes. You'll be on another project one day and you'll be in another bath scene or a shower scene and you'll have to do it all again. Maybe.
I will have to do it all again. I feel like I'm always in water because even in Caretaker, I had to go in the sea, and that was in like October. It was freezing cold, and I had to go into the sea in this little summer dress and dunk my head up. Oh, yeah. I feel like I think everyone's out to get me. They want me in water for some reason. Just struggle.
I find that the sea probably is a bit colder in your part of the world than it is down under. It's a little bit warmer.
Just a tad. Yeah, just a tad.
And the other scene I'd like to mention is the bed just in the middle of the forest. It's brief, but it's an interesting moment. Like obviously there was a bed put in a forest somewhere and you're in it. So how did that, how was it?
That was a really lovely. That was we had done the kind of main block of shooting a month before, and then I came back. I think it was like a month later to do it was just a day shoot just to get this. We needed it to be kind of this crisp, nice sun, but not too much. So I think it was like November or something we did it. And it was just a forest in Kent. And they literally put a bed in the forest, but obviously it was a beautiful forest because the trees are all like weirdly aligned. It's really kind of an eerie forest anyway, actually.
It looked lush and very dense.
Yeah, very dense. And they just slapped this bed in it. That was freezing though as well. I was in obviously
it looked cold.
Little pajama top. Oh my God. And it was like I'd get in the covers before and I'd be like, oh my God, I don't want to get out. And then
you didn't have much on.
No, nothing like bed. I had these little kind of pajama bottoms and a strappy top. And it was freezing. I remember that. And I had to do a lot of like walking around the woods, searching and calling out. And so I remember it being very cold, but it was nice as well because I'd had that break from the shooting and we came back and did that, and I think that was the last scene we shot of the whole of the film. So I had time to kind of go away, refresh, and then come back and do that. So I was a bit more raring to go by then.
Another scene I really liked. I like it when a director or scenes go out of the ordinary. They put things where they shouldn't be, and I liked it. It was good. I'm sorry you were so cold filming it, but hey, you're an actor.
Exactly. That's what I'm there for. And no, I really like it. It looked beautiful. I remember watching it and it was like that it looked really nice. And obviously it's a lovely kind of like interlude then to what comes afterwards, which is completely manic and crazy.
Yes. Did you have a say in the design of the poster? Was there other variable choices before they went with the one they went with? Because the poster's great, like with the candles and yourself.
So good, isn't it? Great. It looks amazing. I remember when we were filming, the producer wanted me to do various different shots. So literally she'll just take pictures in certain things. And one of them was me screaming on the bed. So I knew they had that in mind, that they wanted to use that for the poster. But no, I didn't have a say. So that was a pleasant surprise when I saw that. I think that was one of the first things that they showed me, and before they showed me kind of anything else. And I was like, this looks amazing. It's a really good poster. I was really pleasantly surprised with it.
I hope you've got a copy tucked away somewhere.
I do have a copy. I do, yes.
Good, good.
Of course.
Did you take a diary? Did you write notes or anything during the shoot?
What about my experience?
Yeah,
like
about
when I
your
was there.
experiences. Yeah, a diary.
No, I didn't actually. I feel like that would have been, oh, that would have been really good. I didn't even think to do that because I just remember I had all my kind of prep notes about the character and all of this stuff, and that was kind of my focus. I kind of, oh, I really wish I'd done that. I didn't think
Well,
about that.
I think about the stories you're telling me and what we're talking about, but it would have been great to just jot things down on a daily basis, and you could have turned it into like a little making of, or Bethan Waller at on set or something. Would have been interesting.
I think there was some behind the scenes stuff that they shot actually,
Oh, good.
because I know it's out on DVD in some countries as well, and I think that's on there. I haven't actually seen any of that. I might ask the director if I can have a look.
I'd
Actually,
like to
no, I
have a
don't know if
look
I want.
too. Yeah.
Oh God, no, actually, no, I don't do that. But yeah, I should have done that. I didn't think. I think that's something I'd do next time. I think maybe.
Maybe on your next indie project, and you can think
Yeah,
of me. Oh, Shane mentioned that. That's a
I
great
will.
idea.
I will.
Is writing something that you would like to pursue maybe in the future, a screenplay or a memoir?
No,
Okay.
I'm not. I'm not. I don't. Yeah, because a lot of my acting friends are also like really good screenwriters and really like. But I've never been interested in that. I think maybe because I'm just not very good at it. I feel like there's enough people, great people, to write scripts for me. I'll
Okay.
just stick to the kind of acting part. Although I would say, um, directing has always interested me. So I wonder if somewhere down the line I would quite like to direct something, but something that someone else has written and created, not by myself. Yeah. But no,
Well,
I've never been interested.
maybe having appeared in so many great short films, you could work on directing a short film to start.
Yes, that's a good shout. Yes. It is probably makes sense. It's probably easier to start with a short film than go in with a feature film. But yeah, we'll see. I don't know. Yeah, we'll leave that open.
So, co-stars, anyone, I mean, Johnny, of course, but maybe Kit or anyone else in the cast you worked with made an impression on you, or anything you can discuss about being their screen partner?
Oh my God, all of them made an impression. Kit was the most, he was such a ball of energy. I still miss him now, actually. I feel like I should message him. Oh my God, whenever you were feeling
Yeah.
tired and grumpy and low, all you needed to do is be around Kit and he would just make you laugh. He was the weirdest, wonderful, like he was just so much energy and so much fun. He was like the perfect person to have on set. And then Ellie, Tara, who plays Ellie, I
Yeah.
mean, I still love her now. We still talk now. We had such a bond and such a connection. So I've come away like it's just so many great memories there. But I've come away with yeah, we're still in touch, and it's lovely. Yeah. So but those two on set really did make it even more amazing for me, I think.
Yeah, no, I could tell Kit might have been a bit fun on the side, because he was convincing as the character, but he just had that look about him. I thought he might have been a nice, fun guy to work with.
Yeah, it was so weird because the moment it's like cut, he was back to being his like kooky self and being all like outlandish, and then it would be back to this kind of really composed like priest.
Composed
Yeah,
priest.
yeah.
And Tara, I mean, Lucy and Ellie had some great little moments and chemistry, because she was really other than the priest, but she was really the only one listening to you. And
Yeah.
yeah, it looked like that she was a good actor to work with as well. She's beautiful too, lovely to look at, like her presence on screen.
Beautiful.
She's gorgeous.
Yeah, she's so, and it's such a shame because there was some more scenes between Lucy and Ellie.
Oh,
But it's one of those things where there's only so much. Obviously, it was quite a long film anyway.
yeah.
But I think originally it was like 2.5 hours or something.
Okay.
So they had to cut down a lot of scenes, and unfortunately, some of the really lovely scenes between Ellie and Lucy were cut out. There's But yeah, but it is what it is. But yeah, but at least I got to film them and got to experience that with her. So
well, maybe we can get a director's cut down the track before the sequel, if there is one.
what a good idea.
If Lucy returns.
If Lucy, I don't. Well, if she is returning, I don't know if I'm involved. I haven't got the call up yet.
We'll see. It's been 4 years. Everything old is new again, so you've got to give it another maybe 10 years. It's got to become retro before it gets remade.
Yeah. I'll be doing it when I'm like in my 60s or something.
What about the musical? Do you think we'd see The Last Rite, the musical? Are you musically inclined?
I am not. I love music, but I am not musically gifted. So I think they'd have to get another Lucy for that if they wanted to turn this into a musical. I can't imagine what that would even look like. I'm kind of interested in it.
Every year, BAFTA give out a Young Entertainers Award, a Rising Star Award. How do we get you nominated for that?
Oh, bless you. Well, I don't. Oh gosh, I don't know. I don't know if I've done enough to show that I am qualified for that yet. But there's too many talented people before me, I think. But that would be that would be like the dream, isn't it? It's like to get to that level where you're kind of getting the recognition from people in the industry. That would, and BAFTA for me, BAFTA's always been like that biggest thing. I've watched BAFTAs ever since I was little, and I think that's always been my pinnacle of like success for me, I think. So that's the dream, that's the goal.
Well, that's good to hear. We'll either get you noticed by BAFTA or get you a role on Downton Abbey, one of the two.
Either or, I'll take them both. I'll take them both.
Are there any actors that you'd love? I mean, I'm sure it's a long list, but are there any actors that you'd love to work with in some time in the future, either British or internationally? Someone you admire?
My biggest was I always had this dream of working with Heath Ledger. Was my ultimate. I was obsessed with him. He's amazing. That was always like my biggest dream. And then, oh my God, now, I mean, there's so many. This is one of those questions where all the actors go out of your head. Like someone asks you and you're like, I can't remember a single actor. But oh yeah, I mean, there's so many. I mean, all the big ones, obviously. But I also just think I'd love to work with people that are like up and coming, you know, that maybe are like the rising stars that haven't, you know, that would always be fun. And yeah, I mean, I would work with, I mean, Leonardo DiCaprio, please. I'd love to work with, oh my God, what was I watching the other day? No, I'll go off on a tangent in a minute if you ask me that. But yeah, so many. Or I would work with everyone, please.
That's the answer. Everyone. Yeah. This interview is about you, not me, but it's seeing that you say you love Heath Ledger so much. I never got to interview him officially, but I met him when we were at an after party at a Sydney Film Festival. I guess it was just an event. I can't even remember, but we were at a bar and he was already there. I've come and stood next to him at the bar. I realized who he is, and I just told him how great he was in a movie called Two Hands, Australian film.
Yes.
And then we started talking about surfing, and we stood there waiting for our drinks for maybe a good 3 or 4 minutes. And we were just chatting about the beach, surfing, because, you know, I surf, I knew he surfed, about acting and different, just his inspirations and that. I just threw a couple of casual questions to him, but it was a really nice moment I'll never forget. It was short and quick, and then he drifted off back into the crowd. And he wasn't the Heath Ledger you knew of, you know, when he got to The Dark Knight. It was more of an Australian actor who was doing good work. But I knew who he was, and he was a great bloke. He was really nice to me. So it's a moment, and having met and interviewed so many different people, that's one of my highlights for sure. So I thought I'd tell you that anyway.
That's amazing. What a story.
Yeah.
And for it to be before he kind of made it like big. Wow. Oh my gosh, that's amazing.
I mean, it was a casual conversation, so it was just like two mates talking. It was, yeah, something.
But how lovely is that? That's so much better. I think that's better than if you had interviewed him. You know, you actually got kind of the kind of real him, the like down,
Yeah,
like when he downtime. Yeah,
yeah.
amazing.
It was pretty much after that he spent most of his time overseas and did all the work over there. So it was just as he was about to hit it. So I spoke to him at a really good time, but I don't think he would have changed much as a person anyway.
No. Yeah, I heard. Yeah, I mean, obviously, you just hear things from people that know him, but they said that he never really changed. He was just that same kind of really
Yeah,
grounded.
yeah,
And I think that's why, as well, one of the things is I just always got the impression that he was like that. So I always thought, oh my God, wouldn't he be? Not only is he stupidly talented, but you get the sense that he would just be amazing to work with as well. You know, like
yeah.
he would be fun and yeah, yeah. That's such a shame.
Well, Will Poulter, a British actor, is obviously someone I've been watching for a long time. He was one of the rising stars, BAFTA, and
Yeah.
now he's going well. So you might end up in the same area. You never know, right? Keep the projects going.
Yes, I mean, I'll never stop. I'm doing this forever. So
Okay.
if that happens, that's amazing. But if it doesn't, that's still, that's still fine. Yeah, I love it too much, so I'll never stop. But fingers crossed for that BAFTA for sure.
A couple more things before we wrap up. Are you still working with dementia and that in that area, or other curricular activities, or just focused on acting now?
Just focus on acting now. Yeah, I did that. I would go back to it. I've always said I would go back to it. I did love it.
Yeah.
It became very all consuming. It did. It was kind of, I kind of took that when not much was happening with the acting. So it was to kind of keep the money, keep the income coming in. But I think I underestimated how much it's quite a big job. It's not something that you can just kind of like leave, do the work and come home and forget about it. It kind of stays with you a bit. So but I would go back to it, but I think I'd have to be not focused on acting too much. But so
Sure.
as of right now, I'm kind of giving the acting all my attention.
Outside of acting, what do you do in spare time? Do you are you creative? Do you knit, or do you paint, or do you surf?
I feel like I'm a hugely boring person in that I spend most of my time just watching films and TV shows. I just do. I
You're
spent
looking
my
at
life.
someone who does the same thing. Yeah.
When anyone asks me this, I wish that I like could play an instrument or did this like crazy sport or something. But I just I just love watching films and TV shows. That's kind of like all I do in my spare time.
Do you
Which
like
is,
discovering movies in particular that you've never heard of, and that you can watch, or do you just seek out things that you've heard or been recommended?
probably that I've been recommended or that I've heard of, and to be honest, I think I always go back to with TV shows. I'll always watch kind of the ones that I'm like constantly watching the new ones out. But with
Yeah.
films, I think I just always go back to my favorites. I could just rewatch, I just rewatch the same films over and over again, and they never get old, and I love them just as much as the first time I watched them.
Have you ever been to Australia?
I have. I've got family in Australia, but I haven't been for about, oh my God, like I think the last time I was probably like 10 or something I went.
Oh,
But we used to go a lot. And like when I was little, apparently my parents, I've got 3 siblings, so apparently we traveled around Australia a lot as well. So I do have quite a lot of memories of Australia, but they're kind of fading a bit the older I get. I feel like I need to go back again.
yeah, I'd like to see you down under. And there's so many projects as well that pop up down here. The film industry is huge, so you never know.
Yeah, definitely. And I used to be like I used to be obsessed with Home and Away. Is Home and Away still happening? Is it still on?
It's still happening. It is still on.
Oh my
Yeah.
God.
After all these years, Neighbours finished, and then it's actually been revived. So Neighbours and Home and Away are very similar, as you know. But Home and Away's never gone anywhere. It's still playing on Australian TV four nights a week or whatever it is.
Oh my God, maybe I'll come over and I can be in Home and Away. That would also be a dream. That would be amazing. Oh my gosh.
Filmed
Like child
filmed at Whale Beach in Sydney, so that'd be great. You'd know, I'll
Oh my
take you
gosh.
there.
Okay, you've convinced me. I'm coming over. That's what I'm doing.
They do set tours and visits, so you know I can hook you up. I could do that for you.
Please do, please do. I'd love it.
And finally, why should people watch The Last Rite? I mean, there's so much to choose from. I always say this, especially with streaming services. The Last Rite in Australia, at least, is also available on DVD. So people, if you like collect physical media, like I still do, there's another option. But why, in your own words, should people choose to watch The Last Rite?
That's a good question. I can only answer it in why I kind of was interested in it is if you love horror films and you love sub-genre horror films and you love exorcism films and you love all of that, then this is like the go-to to watch, because that's literally what it is. It's that classic exorcism film. And I think if you know, it's a very English take on it as well, which is so lovely. I mean, a lot of the exorcism films that you see are these American, they're great, don't get me wrong, but they're the American kind of these big elaborate films, aren't they? And this one was low budget. It's just I think if you're interested in kind of like a more, I was going to say authentic, but then what even is an authentic possession film? Because I don't know.
True.
Not authentic, because not authentic. That's the wrong word. But yeah, I think if you just love horror films, and the majority of people that have watched it and that have given me feedback are horror lovers, and I think they've really enjoyed it, and that's so lovely. And that's kind of the market that we were going for anyway. So yeah, I think, you know, and if you want to see Bethan Waller in something, then you should give it a watch.
Yeah, well, that was just a little in joke at the start, obviously. I would never call you by your wrong name, that is for sure. And the poster really drags you in, like we talked about the poster. I think that is a really good starting point. If that's going to be in your wheelhouse, I think you're going to like the movie. I certainly did. Did you keep any mementos? Anything from the set? Any crosses?
Didn't, but the director did give us, before we even started, I think it was at the table read, he gave us crosses. He gave us crosses, and I've still got it actually.
That's cool.
Yeah, that was a really comforting thing going into. He's like, you may need this. I was like, great.
That was just.
But yeah, I've still got that, but nothing else.
It was just off the top of my head, a cross, or I was going to say a candle. So I'm glad you got something from the table read before you made the journey. And last but not least, Lucy is a great character of yours, and I'm sure that if you were in a sequel down the track, you know, you could be the older version of Lucy helping another young possessed girl, maybe.
I do that, yeah. I do that. Yeah, because I think I mean, there might be a sequel. I don't know. I don't know if the director's got plans to do it yet. But yeah, I feel like even though it kind of ends on this little cliffhanger, not so much a cliffhanger, but it's kind of like a what's happening here.
Definitely, yeah, it makes you think.
Yeah, but I think Lucy's kind of story, I think that kind of came to an end. But it would be interesting to see maybe what happens maybe with the Hat Man or something. That would be quite cool.
Yeah, the Man in the Hat.
Next, yeah.
And hopefully Ben is Gonski. He's out of there.
Yeah, she got rid of him. Actually, yeah, let's do a sequel to show that she got rid of him and she was like, I'm too good for you.
Or his good clone replaces him, maybe.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, maybe the demon goes in him and he actually turns out nicer. I don't know.
Oh, it's just manners. You know, it's just such an easy thing. Anyway.